Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Tonight's video is going to be the Sydney Roosters 2021 predicted team list. So for the next 10 to 12 days or so, I'm going to go through each NRL side one by one, and I'm going to give my opinion on what their predicted team could look like, what their best 1 to 17 could look like for the 2021 NRL season. I'm going to go through it like I said, every day or so. I might even do two teams in one day. But tonight I'm dealing the Sydney Roosters. I think they're a good team to start with. Also, before I get into it, Boyd Cordner will not be featured in this team because I know Boyd Cordner's out for the first 12 weeks of the NRL season. And to be honest, I doubt he'll even play football again with all the concussions and all the stuff he's going through. So tonight's going to be the Sydney Roosters 2021 predicted team. Tomorrow there'll be two predicted team list videos. I don't know what teams I'm doing yet, but I'll let you guys know. But I thought it'd be good to do a 2021 predicted team list on all the sides. Now, this is just my opinion, what I think the strongest side would look like for each club. But let's get into it. So I'm going with the Roosters one. So let's go through the 1 to 17, and I'll also added in 4 reserve players. You know how they do the team list when the NRL's on the Tuesdays, and they name the 1 to 17, and they always have the 4 reserves in case of injury or suspension. So I'll add that in as well. So let's go through it. So the Sydney Roosters 2021 predicted team list. Fullback and captain James Tedesco. On the wings, Daniel Tupou and Brett Morris. In the centres, Josh Morris and Joseph Manu. In the halves, 5'8", Lachlan Lamb. Halfback, Luke Keary. The front row of Jared Waerea-Hargreaves and Siasiwa Takiyaho. The hooker is Jake Friend. The second row of Satili Tupanua and Angus Crichton. The lock is the returning Victor Radley. And on the interchange bench, it is Sam Verrills, Lindsay Collins, Isaac Liu and Nat Butcher. And in the reserves, in case of injury and suspension, the 4 reserve players, we have got Adam Kieran, Sam Walker, Matt Ikuvalu, and the young forward Daniel Salakai Fafita. Now, that is my Sydney Roosters 2021 predicted team list, along with the 4 reserve players. Now, I'll go through it. With the Roosters, don't really need to go through it too much. Obviously, the back line picks itself. All those players are going to pick themselves, no doubt about that. In the halves, obviously, I've got Lachlan Lamb at 5'8" and Luke Keary at halfback. I think Luke Keary will still play on the left side of the field like he does, but I think he'll be wearing the number 7 on his back, probably taking more responsibility for the Roosters team, and probably playing on more, like he plays on the left, but he'll probably play more on the right and take more control of the Roosters. So I got Luke Keary at halfback. Doesn't matter if he's playing left or right because he'll play well on either side. So I got Keary at 7 and Lachlan Lamb at 6. So I think Lachlan Lamb's a pretty good young player, and I think out of Adam Kieran and Sam Walker, I think Lachlan Lamb deserves to have first crack in the halves. With Keary, obviously the front row picks itself, Hargreaves and Takiyaho. Jake Friend at hooker. A lot of people are saying that I'm hearing Sam Verrills. I don't think Sam Verrills can overtake Jake Friend's role yet, but maybe in a year or two, you never know. The back row, obviously Boyd Cordner's a huge loss for the Roosters, but when you've got one of the best back rowers in the game, in Angus Crichton, and one of the best young up-and-coming back rowers in the comp in Satili Tupanua, you're going to be fine. Victor Radley returns at lock. I think he's a no-brainer. He's probably one of the first guys picked in the Roosters team. He's a quality player, and I have no doubt in my mind that he will play State of Origin football in 2021. And on the bench, obviously you got to have Sam Verrills there, with Jake Friend obviously having a few injuries in the last couple of years, so it's always good to have a hooker on the bench in case of injury, and Sam Verrills could probably play in the middle if he had to. And then you've got a couple of great forwards. Lindsay Collins, I mean, if Lindsay Collins was at a team like the Gold Coast or the Warriors, or if he was at a team like Manly, I have no doubt in my mind that he would be starting. So Collins on the bench with some great impact. Isaac Liu, he's a very underrated player. He does a good job for the Roosters all the time off the bench, so I got him on the bench. And Nat Butcher, I think Nat Butcher wouldn't be here if Boyd Cordner was fit and ready to go, but Nat Butcher, for mine, he's always been a sort of player where he'll do a job for you, and I think he goes pretty well in that Butcher. And like I said, in the reserves, some of these players might get a bit of game time. I think Adam Kieran will get a bit of game time this year. He's obviously gone to the Roosters to play as a halfback, but like I said, I think Lachlan Lamb deserves to get first crack. Sam Walker, a lot of talk about him, a lot of hype about Sam Walker. He may get a few games in the halves this year with Kiri, but I wouldn't be rushing Sam Walker in the first grade yet. I think he will definitely probably get about 5 or 7 games in him this year, but it all depends on injury and how Lachie Lamb goes as well. But I think Sam Walker will get a few games, so he'll be in the reserves. Matty Kavalu, I think he'll get a few games if there's injuries for the Roosters. Obviously, if Tupou plays Origin or Tedesco, they'll probably put Ikavalu in the team there. So I've got him in the reserves. And the other young forward, keep an eye on this bloke, Daniel Salakai Fafita. Or Salakai Fafita. It's hard to pronounce his last name, but this guy here, Daniel Salakai Fafita, keep an eye on this bloke. I've seen a couple games he's played in the lower grades. If he gets his chance this year, which I think he will debut this year, he's a player to watch out for. He could be the next big young forward coming through at the Roosters. So just keep an eye on him this year. He might have a breakout year. He might only play about 4 or 5 games or so, obviously with the Roosters forwards and their depth and all that. But I think he'll get a few games around start of Origin period, and he might get a few games in general if he performs well enough, and some of the other players don't play that well. But it's the Roosters. They're a quality team. They've got a great side as usual, great depth, and I don't know. Obviously, I'm not going to give away my ladder prediction on where I've got the Roosters or anything. But what I will tell you is they will definitely have a big season once again, and they are going to be very hard to beat. I mean, have a look at that bench: Verrills, Collins, Liu, Butcher. It's a quality bench. Most of those players will probably be starting in other teams that are struggling, like Sam Verrills, for example. He'd be starting anywhere. He could start the Warriors, the Dogs, the Gold Coast, Manly. He'd be a starter in any other club, but he's a great player, Sam Verrills, and I think the Roosters team that I've named for 2021, I think it's a really strong team, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they go in 2021. But anyway, guys, that's my Sydney Roosters 2021 predicted team. Let me know in the comment section below what your Roosters 1-17 will look like. I'm looking forward to reading it in the comments below. Anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. Thanks for watching tonight's video. I know it's a little bit late. I do apologise about that. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, leave a link. Make sure I'll leave a link in the description below. And also, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. There'll be a link in the description below for that as well. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. See you guys in the next one.